is poppin', you guys? Welcome back to another video, and today on the okbassin channel we are going to be going over some of my favorite all-time pre-spawn baits, because that pre-spawn time when these bass are going to be getting PHAT fat is right around the corner. Now, before we get into the baits, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. I forgot to mention it last video, but right now on my Instagram at okbassin, we have a giveaway going on. We have a BizBaits and Sasquatch Jigs care package coming at you guys. The rules are on my Instagram. It is at okbassin, all underscore, same as my YouTube name. Well, Owen, what can we win? A Sasquatch Jigs bluegill colored swim jig. Sasquatch Jigs money colored chatterbait. Very, very limited edition. Some BizBaits, Dizzy Diamonds, green pumpkin, bluish, kind of like an Okeechobee crawl. Kind of like that same color in their cutter crawl. And then like a black and red version of the cutter crawl is more of like a speed. If you think of like the Zoom speed crawl, that's what that is. And then this is their other crawl, which is basically just a bigger, less finesse crawl with less action than the speed crawl. So, the post is up on Instagram. If you guys would like to join that giveaway, go check it out. Now, without further ado, let's hop on into these baits. Now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish or so baits, depending on how you count them. I've combined two because they're very similar, and you're going to use a different one for different occasions, like if it's windy, if it's grass, no grass, rocks, stuff like that. So the first option is either a square bill or lipless crankbait. Now, I have a custom painted square bill. Let's just put the light down here. From Scott Wilson, I got it at the expo. You guys see that? I'll put his Instagram down below in the description. That's Pond Gill, I believe. Awesome, awesome color square bill. The next, this is a Red Eye Shad by Strike King, 1/2 ounce. Got those rattles in it. And what I am going to be fishing very soon, when we can get out on the water, we're going to be heading up to the reservoir. This is a mud crawl type color with that orange belly, so when it wobbles, it's going to flash each side. It is going to get absolutely clobbered. Now, pre-spawn, before I really go in depth about these baits, you have to know something about the pre-spawn, what it actually is. So, pre-spawn is about a month or two before the fish start to go way up shallow, make their beds, lay their eggs, and start protecting from all the bluegill and stuff. Now, in this time period, the males are going to get fat because they cannot leave the bed, or else the bluegill will eat all the eggs, literally all of them. So they have to stay and protect the eggs in the fry for about 3 months or 4 months. The females are going to get fat too, because in this time where the bass are mating and laying eggs, she's not eating the entire time. She's looking for a mate, trying to carve out her bed into the soil or whatever. mud, rocks, some like gravel, whatever you have. Nobody's eating in that time period. So what they do is they're going to eat for 2.5 months straight on big bait fish. So red, you guys are going to notice two patterns. I have the crawl and I have the bait fish. Red, I have found to work amazing for me in these early months. A lot of people use red. This is chili crawl. A lot of people use a lot of red crawl patterns because this is the time where the crawls are starting to molt, get a little bit brighter in color. Now, if you're in a pond where you don't have crawfish necessarily, I still fish this regardless, and it still catches mondos. This is where like a bluegill colored would come into play or something like that. You could change it out for shad, whatever forage you have in your lake. Make sure you match the hatch. So if you have bluegill, make sure you're using a bluegill looking bait. You don't really need to use a shad. I'm sure you could get bit on a shad type bait, but you want to primarily stick with bluegill, stuff like that. So that's the first bait there. Oh, hold up. There, not done yet. When am I going to use this versus this? This is when there's grass. No grass. So timber, rocks, stuff like that. Grass, because you're going to rip that stuff out of there. Pretty easy to remember. If there's grass, use the lipless. If there isn't, use the square bill. Next is a swim jig and chatterbait. So, this is a Sasquatch Jigs swim bait right here. It's pretty bright. Let's fix this light here. Whoa. There we go. What that's going to do is mimic bait fish that these bass are going to be eating up on. I also have a chatterbait. Now, they're two different colors. They usually be the same color. You know, shad. This is more of a shad type bait. Dirty water bait. You use green pumpkin for bluegill, clear water, stuff like that. So you're going to use the swim jig if it's pretty calm. You know, comes through grass a lot better than a chatterbait does. So pretty calm and a little bit grassy is when you're going to use the swim jig. If there's a little bit of chop on that water, you're going to want this little chatterbait. And a quick tip for you guys is take a black Sharpie and put it on the blade of your chatterbait. Because what that does, I'm going to say, well, some people, you might not want to do this. It depends on who you are. But for me, I like to take a black Sharpie and put it on that blade on both sides. Because what it does is it makes that bait just a little bit more natural. You know, your bluegill in your pond, or your shad in your pond, or your crawfish in your pond, whatever you're trying to mimic, aren't swimming around with a forehead like this, go side to side, making a bunch of chop, stuff like that. So what that does, that should cut down on the reflection just a little bit. I left a little bit of it on there that might bring some flash to it. Spike some curiosity, stuff like that. So that's a quick tip for you guys. Again, these are Sasquatch jigs, swim jigs, and chatterbaits. You can win both of these in the giveaway. Not these colors, but that type of jig. You follow me, good. Okay. 2 baits left. 2 baits left. The next is something I'm trying to get into this year. If you guys follow the channel, you guys know what it is, and this is swim baits. This is another work of Scott Wilson. This is a custom painted bluegill swim bait. And this is the Megabass Mag Draft 6-inch. Now, I caught my PB pre-spawn last year. I might put a picture up if I remember to. It was a little bit more than 4.5. It's a pretty weak PB, but you know, refined to Ohio ponds, so usually there's ice about 8 months out of the year, depending on what the state feels like doing. And what that does, that was sarcastic, by the way. What this does, this mag draft is going to represent some shad a little bit more than it does bluegill. It could imitate a bluegill, but more of a shad type bait. I'll still fish it regardless, but this is definitely a bluegill. It's going to represent those giant bait fish that those bass are going to be chasing. And what that does is it's going to weed through all those smaller fish. It's going to make, you might not catch as many fish on these baits, but when you do catch a fish, 3 pounds or more, pretty much guaranteed. So these are your big fish baits for the pre-spawn, our big swim baits. Finally, I'm a power fisherman if you couldn't tell, because I just rattled off 3 power baits, if you could say. Actually, here I need one more bait over there. Next is a shaky head. Now, it's mid-February here in Ohio, and we still probably got about 3 months until they're still spawning, which means we probably have 2 or 3 deep cold fronts still coming for us. Hopefully one isn't like a polar vortex in mid-May, you know, something like that. But the next is, you know, when those fish aren't as active yet, they're not up feeding, chasing bait like crazy, is a shaky head. Now this is a BizBaits Dizzy Diamond. You can also win a pack of these in the giveaway. This is like a plum color. And oh my god, do these smell. But you're just going to fish it on the bottom like that. This tail is going to stand straight up. You know, twitch it a little bit. That diamond, how it gets its name, it's going to just quiver back and forth. So, you know, you're just going to throw that out there. I use a spinning rod 99% of the time for those. I've considered using a bait caster once for a shaky head. And last but not least, you know, you're just going to hop that. Whatever, you guys get the gist of it. Last but not least, let's actually put this away so I don't break it, is a creature bait. Now, you might ask why, and that's because I love flipping cover. And as bass and bait are going to be starting to move up shallow, they're going to be tending to hang towards a little bit of cover. So that's when you get the old 7.4 heavy out with the SLX combo. You are going to slap a big creature bait on there, like one of these guys. This is a BizBug in mud crawl, 4.25 inch. A little bit green pumpkin and black and blue on each side. Pretty unique color. Throw that on the back of a Sasquatch jig, structure jig. You could just throw it on a flipping hook. I'm sure you could probably get away with forget what I was gonna say. But yeah, a creature bait is one of the most versatile baits, and they're a pretty good big fish bait, especially one like this. You know, the baby BizBug is a little bit smaller, but something like this beefy would go a long way as to eliminating those Larry-sized fish. But if you'd be interested in winning any of the baits I just mentioned, except for the swim baits and the crankbaits, which, you know, those are pretty cheap. Scott sells his for about $10 or 3 for $25, or at least that's what his prices were at the expo. Go check out the Instagram for the giveaway at okbassin. Make sure you click the subscribe button. Hit that like button too. Makes me happy. As always, I'm your host, Owen. We'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya!